Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Tony Talks Get Up and Grow. I'm your host, Tony Rodriguez. The show's about having conversations with inspirational leaders, influencers, change makers, people that aren't just doing well in life, but that are also doing good in the world. And today's guest is doing just that. He certainly helped me and dropped a lot of tips. And in this, in the market that we're in right now, we need someone like this in our lives and in our business more than ever. He is a marketing genius or marketing guru, if you will. He is also a speaker, a mentor, a coach, an entrepreneur. He's a founder of Growndswell Marketing, Tribe Echo, and several others. It is my friend. There he is, Scott.
Aloha.
How's it going, Scott?
Hey, good. Shock it, everybody. Aloha. How you doing? Aloha from Canada. Not
Nice.
I wish.
I love it. I love it. So listen, for today, for the first time, so we are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. So thank you for those who are tuning in on both of those platforms. And remember that this is a conversation. This is interactive. It's a conversation not just with myself and Scott, but certainly a conversation with you as well. So you can please feel free to type in your questions and we'll answer as many in real time as possible. But for the first time today, I'm also trying to get live, to go live here on Instagram. So that is what I'm in the process of here. So excuse me if I'm a little, I sound a little scattered because I'm doing so many things at once.
Yeah, it's okay. Hey, well, you're just like, you're multitasking. This is like, we're doing breakthrough. This is like broadcasting 101. You know, this is the new TV station. You know, like you're the chief producer, host, editor and coordinator all in one. So
absolutely. So I'm actually trying. I don't see where that is now. It's giving me a hard time here. Hold on.
Is it like in the back of the system where you can actually go live on both platforms?
No, I'm actually just trying to go
straight on your Instagram. Yeah,
as if I'm going to take a photo.
Yeah, just go like you're going to post a story, and then at the bottom slip over to the left. To your right, and it'll show live at the bottom. It shows live in a couple different.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. It was doing that before. It's not doing that now. So let's see. Let me just close out the app. So sorry about that, guys. We're a little slower today than most. But anyway, here's Scott Martin. He is, like I said, he's a great guy. He's given me so many great tips on marketing and so many great things. Oh, there we go. I see it now. Let's see if we can go live here.
Are we live on Instagram?
Let's see. I'm about to in connection. There we go. We're live, except it's showing the back of my. There we go. Now we're live on Instagram as well. Let's see if I can ask you to go live. When you go live with someone, let's see.
I see you there. Yeah.
There we go. I see you. We're going to add you. Beautiful. Look at this.
Go live with Tony. I'm alive. Now I just
you did the same thing. Oh, how are we going to do this now, though? Because the sound, how's the sound going to work?
Is it, we got a little echo here?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going in a loop.
Yeah, we're going in a loop. Let me see if I just turn the volume down on one. Yeah, there you go. Turn the volume down on one of your devices. That should be fine because people should still be able to hear us on Instagram as well.
There we go.
So turn the volume down on your Instagram. And if you're watching us on Instagram, just give me a thumbs up and let me know that you can hear us as well.
I'm doing the Jimmy rig. 1 sec here.
Yeah, just
I gotta keep it away from the mic.
Just drop the volume all the way down on one or the other.
I turned it off on that one.
I'm still hearing that.
Yeah, so I wonder if I can mute. 1 sec.
So we're trying something out new here, guys. So just give us a minute. First time on Instagram with a guest. So if you're watching us on Instagram, welcome to Tony Talks, Get Up and Grow. And for those of you on Facebook and YouTube, you'll just listen to the intro again. This is a show where I have conversations with inspirational leaders, influencers, change makers, people that aren't just doing well in life, but are doing well in the world. It is an interactive conversation, so please ask your questions in one place or the other, and we will try to answer all of them live. So thank you again for joining us on all platforms. Scott, I think we're good.
Okay.
I don't hear any feedback.
Yeah, I muted my thing. I just got to find a place for my microphone. Sorry, everyone, for the craziness. Just need to find a little way to hold this up here, and then I'm good to go.
Awesome. So if anybody has any questions, like I said, Scott is Growndswell Marketing. He has given me so many great tips on some of the things, how I should approach my marketing and how to be able to reach a broader audience. So like I said, please do ask your questions. Chad, can you see Scott now? There, good. Okay, you see Scott now. That's awesome. So we've got Becky and David and Scott and Bjorn.
I know who David is. That guy used to run one of the largest retail. He was a client of mine. He said one of the largest retail companies, head of marketing in Canada.
Wow, fantastic. Good. Awesome. So he's already worked with you, so he knows how great you are. And listen, he's watching, so I guess he still likes you. You did good.
Yeah, he's a really good guy, actually.
Awesome. So yes, please do ask your questions, and feel free, and actually please do share this video. We're also live on YouTube, so feel free to share in any platform that you want. So Scott, since we last met at a Tony Robbins event, probably a year and a half ago or whatever it was, for the first time, and then reconnected at Sean Callaghan's Unblinded event. What has been going on, especially in these interesting times that we've had? How have you been keeping yourself busy?
Well, I've been incredibly busy. In fact, it's been as for everybody, it's been a huge shift. But probably the biggest thing is on March 2nd, I was going to launch a mastermind. And of course, that could have been the most interesting time to be launching a mastermind. And March 11th is when just things went to full swing, I think, for us. And I'm sure for everybody, things started really changing. So I have done a bit of a pivot. And the timing in my mind couldn't be any better, is to really start publishing and putting more content out there. So what I've been doing is in the course of March all the way to the beginning of April, I think I did about 3 webinars, and I did about 30 companies that I actually was doing these ideation, pivot, rapid cash flow, marketing, business model changes for, and I was on nonstop. Like, I was seriously, I didn't turtle. I was like full on, just like trying to help businesses in the time, because there's so much happening so quickly. And so the great thing, I guess you could say the great thing about that was I noticed some patterns, and I ended up publishing a bunch of articles recently about that have really, I think, helped a lot of people. And that's kind of what I'm really shifting a little bit more towards in this current environment, is really that no guru knows what's going on. There is no rules. I think that probably the most important thing that's shifted is that we have to recognize that there was before coronavirus and there was after. All the marketing processes, the customer behavior, all that stuff completely changed. And if anybody says they're going to be if I were to say, oh, I know exactly the way, I have some ideas, but quite honestly, I think that we need to go on really just sort of like taking everything with a grain of salt and going, this is based on the information we have today, this is where things are. And you look at the news today, oil went negative. What is that going to do to the economy? What is that doing to the mindset of people, the psyche? That all has an effect on how we market, a small business, even if you're not in the oil, it affects everybody, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, this is a line that I've been using a lot, is in what's happening in today's market. Even if you're not infected, you're being affected. Doesn't matter which corner of the globe you're in. Again, case in point, oil. When that changes, it changes for everything. Then again, I'm not going to complain too much about it, because 2 days ago, I was at Costco, and I filled up for like $26. It was $1.75.
Yeah, I mean, depends on how you look at all this, right? Like, if you're looking for the silver lining, you'll find it. If you're obsessed with going, where's the opportunity, that will guide you to your business, your operation, whether you're working from home, working for someone else, working for yourself, or looking at realignment. Put your energy at it's like when I used to snowboard tons in the backcountry. I think I did 12 years of filming. and was like in heli skiing. I started heli skiing Canada. I was just so into content. And I learned this really important lesson in the trees. Look at the spaces, not the trees. You look at the trees, you're going to hit them, right? Tony Robbins talks about the post and the mile marker, right? So to me right now, I'm obsessed with looking at those spaces. And that's probably one of the biggest things that I'm seeing huge gaps, massive opportunity. I'm excited about it, but I don't want to be excited about it because I know people are hurting. I don't want it to feel like I'm not being empathetic to that. I'm just excited because this means that there's hope. And a lot of ways, if I can help people think that way, it's not so much like I have the ideas. I'm like, I have maybe some directions on how to think about it that can guide you there. So,
right. So yeah, I love the analogy of looking at the gaps, right? Because so many times people don't look at the gaps; they look at the trees. They look at the imminent threat, the imminent danger, and they're inevitably drawn to it, right? They're inevitably going to hit that tree. So look at the gap. I've been riding motorcycles for a long time as well, and the guy that I first bought my first motorcycle. And it wasn't looking about the gaps, except what he would said is, when you're riding a motorcycle specifically, when you're driving too, but more of a motorcycle, you can't look in front of you. You can't look at what's in front of you. You got to look 100 feet out, because if you're just looking at immediately what's in front of you, you may very well crash in 100 feet or 200 feet or whatever it is.
Yeah,
right?
well, when you're in a motorcycle, when
like
you're at an intersection, you almost have to switch on a blur of peripheral to kind of look at all the information in front of you as you're entering this potentially very dangerous and very rapid changing place, right? That's kind of like how we need to think.
Yeah, well, fortunately, we've got a supercomputer on top of our shoulders, and many of us use it. Right? It's much more powerful than we give it credit for, but it can process information. It can process so much more than, and again, skiing and riding motorcycles and doing all kinds of, heli skiing and all of those things. You're having to take on so much of your environment to be able to navigate safely. And, in truth, these days in business, it's the same way. You've got to look at the big picture. You've got to look at for that 10,000 foot view, 3,000 foot, 2,000 foot, 500 foot, 100 foot, and then you can get down to the nitty gritty. But you've got to really be able to look at as much as possible to be able to see where the danger is, where the opportunities are, and everything else. More importantly, to your point, where the gaps are and where the opportunities to be able to jump in.
No question. But I think that you can get a little caught up with trying to think about what the future trend is. And that's not necessarily what I'm also, saying that we're focusing on is I think that, like, think of this, maybe we frame this a little bit, is when on the time in the history of the world has everybody had the same thing happen at the same time that affected everybody the same way? 9/11 affected everybody, but not in the same way. This technically has affected everybody in the same way, to different variations, of course, no question. But what has that done globally in terms of this behavior of a sort of a collective stop, a collective maybe even think about how we're all thinking right now? Like, I actually think that, like you're talking about using your brain, like meditating and thinking and connecting. I think that what's happened is people are really connecting with what's really important to them. And when you're in crisis mode, you create a smaller circle and you focus on people you trust. And I think that if you look at those patterns, not so much as trends of opportunity, but think of them as behavioral openings. Think of them as shifts in mindset, unconsciousness, and sort of attitudes. They lead you to different, really interesting places about where's opportunity. And maybe even more importantly, what's important to you, right? Like, think about how many people right now that are listening to this, or maybe if they have 2 cars, they're thinking about, do I need 2 cars? That one thought is happened across the board at the same time with millions of people. What will that do to an industry, to business, to behavior, right? Just that one thought. Now start thinking of all the thoughts that you've been thinking. So you don't have to think too far. You can just kind of think about what's collectively been thought of. And that might lead you to going, how am I going to adapt to the situation, right? In a business, and I think we're talking about business and marketing. So you should probably maybe make it a really narrow lane there, right?
Right.
So right now, what you like, it's like if you see somebody that's really putting hard tactics, or they're really trying to take advantage of the coronavirus, you have a visceral reaction. Like, I think that what really clear to me is that we all, like, we're listening to this, don't we all feel really something different, but maybe we can't put our finger on it? There's something different about the way I look at it. So for example, like, I saw this article that I posted in one of my communities about that this coronavirus is basically decimating and killing the influencer, the whole Instagram influencer business. And I'm like, good. Because I feel that it's like somewhat surface. It's not very meaningful. It's like it's a facade. Now, not all of it's a facade, not all of it's wrong. It's a generalization. But what I'm saying is to me, I'm like looking at the good in what's happening, and what does that really mean? To me, the barometer of what it means is that people are actually looking a little deeper. Maybe right now they're looking to connect with people they trust, of meaning and wisdom. How many people there have an amazing gift? They have so much knowledge of what they do. They just need to put a voice to it, because even if you're helping 30 people, that's 30 times value. Don't get caught up with, I don't have 1,000 or 10,000 followers. I think this is the new movement. I think it's the movement of the people that have been quiet, that really just want to help, who have been stomped down by this thought of, I don't know marketing. I don't have a group. I think this is the rise of the voice of people who have real great talent, and it starts small. And that's what I call the beginning of a groundswell. It's the name of my business, right? Which is, how do you create a groundswell of movement? This is, I think, going to create massive groundswells of following that are meaningful, not necessarily bought, not necessarily about attention, not about likes. It's going to be about movement, making a difference in people's lives. And that's what your podcast is about. That's what this video cast and all your networks about, is you're highlighting people that are making meaningful difference. I think this is fucking right on point. Pardon my language.
Awesome. I appreciate that. And I apologize.
I was not having people, so I was just taking lease and running with it.
Yeah, I'm sorry for not having undivided attention, but on Instagram we're having a little bit of feedback, so I just give everybody the channels to go to on Facebook and YouTube.
Is it not happening on Instagram Live?
Yeah, no, they're getting the feedback from the audio.
Oh, shitty.
You got to figure out how to do that effectively. So I apologize if you're not able to watch and listen effectively, but join us on YouTube or Facebook. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. We'll make this happen right tomorrow. All right. Have a great day.
It's a good test. See, this makes it real. It's not perfect.
There you go. Listen.
So am I turning it off the live?
Done is better than perfect.
Am I turning my Instagram off then?
What's that?
You
turn your Instagram off.
I turn it off? Yeah.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, unfortunately, we were getting feedback. So back 100% here. Hey,
Okay.
Natalie, thanks for jumping in. Hey, Dana. Hey, Chad, thanks for jumping in, you guys. Yeah, so Chad is saying that is so true. I couldn't agree with you more, Scott. And listen, he's absolutely right. I mean, now's the time, right? Now's the time to focus on what you need to. So let me ask you a question. So you're obviously in this movement now, and just to go back a little bit, what's your why? Why are you in the business right now? And what's your passion? What's driving your passion right now?
Oh, that's easy. The purpose of my life is to be a groundswell for good that turns into waves of change, that turns into tsunami of stoke. That's it.
Love it.
Date with Destiny. Nailed it. I'm totally all about a groundswell for good. I've shifted completely from working just with meaningless large brands. Not that they're meaningless, but just that's not where I'm at. I've worked with massive brands for years. I'm now working with what I would call solopreneurs or entrepreneurs that have purpose, businesses that have some sort of purpose so they can make a difference in people's lives. It doesn't mean that the business itself has to be a social enterprise. But like, for example, we're working with Craig Bundern, who's got a painting company that he's relaunching a vision for. That's really to help out. He's creating a foundation. He's helping the local arts community and stuff. I'm like, I freaking love this stuff because it's really showing a transition. There's a digital transformation movement that everybody's heard. Like now it's like digital transformation. I think there's something different. It's social enterprise transformation. I believe that is the next, what we're right on the cusp of, where businesses are really going to really look inward like we are all right now. There's so many people thinking, why? What's my purpose? Why am I doing this? Do I really need this? Like, so I think that's going to happen within marketing, and marketing that doesn't espouse that or doesn't really, you dig deeper and you don't have that there, I think is going to have its shortcomings.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, what's the word? It was a term that was going around for a little bit, but it's social responsibility and social entrepreneurship is the word I was looking for. It's about giving back, and those who are giving back, and there's no time like now, right? The people that are giving back, the companies that are giving back, everybody that, whether people say, oh, well, okay, well, they're only doing that because they want the business afterwards. Okay, and what's wrong with that? It's better than the people that aren't doing it, right? So because whenever somebody does one good thing, somebody else is criticizing as to their motives. Well, forget the motive, right? The reality of it is, if I think it's maybe Shell or something is giving 50 cents off per gallon on gasoline if you're in the medical field or a first responder. Cool. Oh, well, that's just marketing. Okay, well, let it be marketing, but they're still doing something good. They're still doing better.
So that's a good point. That is now the new marketing. Think of that as being a good thing, not just, don't judge someone for doing that. And I understand the greenwashing thing, right? I'm pretending to do something under the banner of that so that I can make myself look good. That is where people's skepticism is, and rightfully so. Look how much crap that people have been schlepping. So, but at the same time, when someone's doing something right or they're making an attempt that direction, we should really applaud it. And I actually think that the shift, and actually I'm writing my book. I just wrote an article in Medium called "Give: The New Customer Acquisition Imperative," and the new customer acquisition strategy. Really, it's because in order for you to get customers, it used to be you could just get their attention and make an offer. That shifting is so hard right now that you have to, and that's why I think you're seeing so many people giving, because you're not going to get any business unless you demonstrate you care. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yes.
And people don't remember what you say, what you do, what you pitch, but they remember how you made them feel. So if you're really feeling it authentically and you're actually making a difference, you have an edge. And I think that, so I call it really, I've got 4 steps for building a groundswell. First is build. You need to build an audience demand. You need to do all the right infrastructure to build it. But you also, the next step is, instead of going in what they call get, grow, keep, or get customers, you need to give to get customers. It's the law of the universe. This is the thing I think is really interesting, is that everything that's changing is moving towards laws of the universe and nature. Don't you think? Isn't this so many great posts about the coronavirus is like Mother Nature giving us a timeout? I'm kind of fuck, it's probably true, right? I'm being lighthearted about it. I don't mean that for people that are suffering, but I'm look, if you want to proceed, I think in this new environment, I think this to be a truth. And that is, you need to put things of value. If you're a business and you're selling, it doesn't mean you have to give away value. It doesn't mean you have to give away discount. It doesn't mean but being of value, right, can be a way of, think of businesses that are of value. And then you go, well, if that's what they're doing for free, what are they doing when you pay for it, right? It's going to require, think of all the free content right now that's floating around, right? You now have to compete against people who are willing to give away free content. Welcome to a very more challenging environment, but isn't it good that it's starting with giving, not taking?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you saw the post that I made a few hours ago, but did you see that post that I made on Instagram? I made it on Facebook as well. I'll read it to you.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I like to think.
Yeah, be the type of person. Yeah, but then I go on to say, and to your point exactly, I say we can all make a difference, and to strive to be a person of value, not just of success, right? So even as a company now, strive to be a company that gives value, right? Not just to the shareholders, right? Do more than just sell a good product. By all means, do sell a good product. By all means, do have great customer service and retention and everything else. But where else can you shine? How else can you show up, right? What else can you do to stand out from the crowd? And right now, unfortunately, there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of people that are hurting. And look, I'm in New Jersey, right? 45 minutes from Manhattan. So we're kind of right in the middle of it. My wife's a nurse. I think you may have heard me say that before. Mm-hmm. So she actually just left for work about a half hour ago. So she's going into it. And it is as bad as they say it is right now in the hospitals, and the PPE, and anyway, mismanagement. We're not even going to go there. But there are significant challenges, and there's people that are putting themselves at risk every time they go to work, especially in places that are the hotbeds, in hospitals that are 50% or better of the patients in some cases have COVID patients. So why not take this opportunity to, and look, I know that Reebok, she was just telling me yesterday, Reebok is offering 40% off footwear, 50% off footwear, and this one is offering that. And I believe there's I think it might be one of the car dealers is offering free oil changes for nurses and doctors and first responders, and who's getting free car wash and everything else. And I think it's great, because why not? You're not doing as much business as you were before. Why don't you stand out from the crowd by giving back and contributing to the community that you're generating revenue and sales from anyway? So I think it's the perfect time for people to really pay attention, because the ones that are standing out now, those are the ones that you should watch. And there was someone else, and I'll stop flapping my gums in a minute, but there's someone else that said, you know who I'm investing, the companies that I'm investing in, the companies that have, and I don't know if this was you, if it was you, just stop me. I'm investing in the companies that are changing their marketing to adjust for these times, so that they're making the adjustment instead of the same old ad or trying to go after business the same way. Give back, have that social entrepreneurship, or that social responsibility element of your business. So I'm loving it. I mean, again, there's a lot of people, and unfortunately, it's already hit my family as well. Extended family. We've lost a few people, 2 people last week. So, I'm not being insensitive whatsoever. But this is a good opportunity for people to shine. This is where leaders stand up and lead.
Yes, and I think there's probably a ton of people we've been talking up here, high level, like the economy and different things and businesses that maybe a lot of people listening are going, well, I don't have a big business like that. I think there's a ton of people that are tuning in or want to listen to this that are going, I'm just like, I was in a business, I lost my job, now I'm thinking about starting a business. I think there's a huge audience for this right now. I think that we're going to experience the biggest change in that we've ever seen for home-based entrepreneurial business and innovation, that on a scale that we do not even understand yet. And so if anybody's going, well, what do I have to offer? And everybody else, like, Scott, you've been doing this for 20 years and I don't know anything. Like, okay, do you know how many people who know less than you and that there's like going online right now that are like in their 60s, lost their 70s or something, and they don't even know how to use a computer, and you want to just help them with there is just like unbelievable amount of opportunity to really look at this much differently, because I think that it's democratized entrepreneurialism in a way that has forced it, because people are working from home, thinking of innovation. And if you even now, this applies also to the people who had a business and now are working home, and now we're going to this new transformation of like literally working from home. So all the tools that are disposable, that were expensive, that were marketing tools and tactics and stuff, I believe that an overproduced video, like that's why the whole Instagram thing not working, I think great. You know why? I think people are a little bit overproduced content. Amazon did an ad that was like hailing their workers as heroes, and I think it's great. The reality is, when I saw that video, it was so well produced with music and everything, it didn't feel real. But if they had I think I was on with shoot, I forgot his name, the guest he had on yesterday. I'm trying to remember what his name.
With Brian Bradley on
Brian,
Saturday?
yeah, me and him were chatting, and I think he was him that said if the CEO had gone on and said, listen, and he had a personal message about these guys are working hard, and I had no idea, really, like he did some sort of heartfelt, real message to people that wasn't overproduced, I think it would hit the mark in a huge way. And I believe this is where it's going. So don't be intimidated by, I don't have great marketing, or I don't have great design, right? I think that is actually diminishing over time. And what it's going to come down to is quality of content, trust, ecosystem of people that you trust, that you want to build from, and start small. Don't skip to growing. Give to a small group and grow from there. I think that is actually, it's like now is the time to do it. And you don't have to give, away products. Give value, be of value, be helpful. I mean, everybody has amazing talent, but so many people don't feel that they can voice their talent because they're intimidated, or they don't feel like they have an audience. And I think I want you to tell you that you do. You have, like, you could start it like today in a matter of, I just talked to, she's probably online listening to this. So Svetlana, she was just trying to do a total pivot. Literally 2 days ago, I said, you need to start a podcast. You need a cover. You need to start a group. She wrote 3 articles. And we did this in 48 hours, and she's up and rolling right now. And total pivot. And if she's on, maybe send a note to Tony and mention that. So to me, that's like, she was willing to, and she was willing to just let go and just just do it. So if anyone's listening, just do it. Like,
just do it. Absolutely. Listen, I've got somebody that's watching here, Natalie Susie. She was on my show on Thursday. And when I was on with her the week before, on the phone the week before, she was saying that she hasn't done. I challenged her. So she started her show on Friday.
oh, good. So,
because she's brilliant. She's got a great message and so much to share. But the reality of it is people are afraid. And Chad, they're afraid of failure, afraid of adjustment. And Chad that came in and said, yeah, that's me. The reality, Chad, is you just got to go for it.
Yeah, I'm actually helping Chad launch his podcast. Yeah, we're going to record on Thursday. So we actually, he's like, I think I may be up to 40 people that I'm actually helping and just sort of like mentoring and just kind of help them launch off. And he's looking at doing a backcountry podcast. He's never done anything like this. He's works in Northern Alberta in the oil and gas. That's been, heavily affected. And he's taking a risk and he's going out there and he's already got some great traction. So I'm really proud of him. So like, to me, it's like, I want to also caution that it's not enough to just create a show and post stuff. It'll make you feel good. It's a dopamine. Don't get caught in it. Go to the next. You need to be able to start thinking about and mapping. I think it's really important to take a step back and go, why am I doing this? Am I committed to doing this? Because if you're just doing it because you feel like I could do it, it's a trend, you won't be committed to it. And if you don't think in your mind, you don't already predispose that you can make money from this, you won't put the gas to this. You need to start thinking before you begin. Go ahead and begin, but start thinking backwards, going, what are the ways that you can monetize this? And what I think a really big mistake is the thinking that it's all on you. Why don't you collaborate? I think collaboration right now is probably the fastest way to finding a couple people you can work with that you can collaborate on a product, an idea, a service. I think we're going to be in this age of collaboration like no business.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's going to be more solopreneurs collaborating and creating ecosystems together.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, because as the old African proverb said, you want to go fast, you go alone. You want to go far, you go together.
Yeah.
And as a group, or as with other people on your team, you're helping them, they're helping you, they're carrying weight sometimes when you can't carry, and then you're carrying when they can't. And again, just being able to pool resources. And right now, at least for the next 2-3 weeks, at least, people still have, again, with exceptions of like you've been busy as heck. I know that I've been a little bit busier than normal as well. There's more accessibility to people, and you have the opportunity to reach out to people in a different way. This was a great equalizer.
Oh my gosh.
COVID-19.
And now is the time. When has anybody been at home, more screen time than ever, no distractions of the world around you, and open and susceptible to ideas of collaboration or learning or like considering working with you in some way? Like, this is an incredible opportunity, and just from the audience perspective of people being online. Now, yeah. I argue, though, that it's also a huge challenge because there's so many people just putting content up online, and I see people putting up lives and they're nervous, but they're not adding a lot of value because they're just they don't have a point to what they're saying. I think that you really, if you don't feel that you're ready, be a reporter. Bring people in. Like, I do it myself. I have a podcast. I bring in the top minds of marketing because I'm like, I want to know what they do. So I do the same thing. I'm eating my own dog food. So, and what I'm going to do, actually, I think I wanted sort of like to officially announce it on this show. I've told you about it, which is I'm launching a thing called Tribes on my tribes.eco, which is going to be waves of impact.
Yeah,
I'm going to highlight in a podcast and a video cast in my community already, people who are making a difference in the planet and people. And I'm going to treat it like a directory, but I'm also going to be able to transition it into Alexa briefings and audio and so forth. So it gives a different level. So it's a different added value. So it's not just another show. I'm doing something of extreme value that no one's even thinking about right now. I want to differentiate. So think about yourself. Like, what could you do? Don't just look at what everyone's doing. What could you do just a little differently? That's all you have to do, really, to make it really cool. The fact that you're syndicating off this, you're Tony Talks. You're in a category of your own. I love it.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's kind of the same thing that you're talking about, the groundswell marketing and what you're talking about, the wave. This is what this is, right? This is helping people grow through what they go through and bringing experts and bringing people that sometimes you don't have access to. And, it's not to the point of it not being all perfect and edited and everything else. That's why this is never, you rarely ever hear me ask somebody the same question, because it's a conversation, right? That's what makes it a little bit different. It makes it a little unique and gives us a little quirks. And so far it's been working well. But let me give a little love to the people that are on here. Dana, before said, and she's so right, we are in a universal paradigm shift from money to gifting and trade. Absolutely. Chad says he agrees with Dana. Thank you, Dana. Tony is a certified high performance coach. Yes, I am, and he is the best coach ever. Thank you, Dana. I appreciate that. Ecosystems are how the universe works. Absolutely. Absolutely. Tony's market.
So that right there, I mean, do you want to talk about ecosystem? Because so everybody's been talking about the funnels and all that stuff. I've been saying forever, funnels are, I hate to say this word, but I'm gonna say it, they're fucking dead. And the reason why, it's like pop-ups. So my analogy is, remember pop-up ads?
Yeah.
They died, thank God, right? Why? No value, interruptive, like you were forced to do it, but they worked. So people did it because it worked. Eventually, they realized that the clicks that they were getting weren't giving them the value that they wanted. Now, when you're in a funnel now, what happens? You look around, you go, I'm in a funnel. What does your brain naturally do? It shuts off all the stuff to you. Oh, yeah, here's next. Here's the quote. How many times have you gone through a funnel and gone, oh, yeah, here's the quotes. I'm skipping past. As you see more of them, right, it turns into a less ingenuous situation that you're going through that you shut off. It's no different than the pop-ups. Ecosystem is different. An ecosystem is, think of it as when you're in Tony's ecosystem, you're on Instagram, you're getting value of what he's posting on stories. When you go on, you sign up and you hear the alert and you go on YouTube or here and you see the live. That's part of his ecosystem. You feel like I'm not being sold to. There's a value. I'm going into it. I'm getting a value, and then I'm deciding if I want to dig deeper or not. This, I think, is the new marketing. And I think one of the biggest things is, and believe it, this is coming from Scott, who's a marketer. I'm actually really an entrepreneur, but a marketer, is I actually think marketing's dead. I think marketers' jobs are going to disappear. The idea that you should go to a marketer now, I think is slowly diminishing. I believe that within this type of marketing, you're seeing more and more business owners going, well, I don't have a budget, so I might as well get on a podcast or post a post. And what you're seeing is marketing's becoming, it's like sort of integrated when everybody's in the business. And I'll give you a really good example. So it doesn't scare people going, well, why? I thought it was supposed to be the business owner, not the operator. One of my friends, Jamie Grimes, he's a Platt, and he has a clinic for multidisciplinary doctors. And what he's done is he's transformed his business to have all of his doctors doing online different shows. He's now a platform for shows. This is going to be a whole new ongoing thing that he's doing, but it's a way for them. They're now doing the marketing by virtue of them creating the content-led marketing, where they're actually showing value and engaging with their audience and their clients. What I think you want to see is look inward into your organization. And if your organization of one, then it's you. Maybe it's not, but if it's more, look at your organization first for marketing, because I believe that that's where the more authenticity and the ability to move forward, because you're seeing the barriers of like these. And I really do think that one of the biggest trip ups is that someone as an entrepreneur is looking at these platforms and going, I don't get it. And I call them tools with rules. They're confusing as hell. Everything else makes common sense, but stupid social media and marketing, it never seems to make sense. I feel like marketers are liars. Half the stuff works. I don't know what works, what doesn't. So it's super confusing. And I think that veil is lifting. The fog is moving, and people are realizing you don't need half that crap. You just need to find within you a value proposition and a connection emotionally, and just bring forward all that and just start with that. You don't need to spend a bunch of money on overproduced content or marketing. Take it from me. I was in the business for like 25 years doing that stuff, right? You don't need it.
Yeah, the challenging thing right now, no more hard selling, says Danny. Yeah, I don't like the hard sell. I do like the hard sell though. That's what you got to go to.
The hard sell. Yeah.
Not the hard sell. So one of the things that I know that I'm curious about is, what I've been hearing is, because obviously Facebook ads do work, right? They do drive traffic. And I've been hearing that using the boost function on Facebook is actually pretty good, because you're not really paying per click. But then I've also heard that it limits the amount of people that you can add to your groups because they want you to go over to the Facebook ads, and then there's a whole algorithm thing, right? That
Okay.
only 5 or 7% of the people on your list even ever see your content unless they follow you. And I know that's true because I go months without seeing people post. I'm like, hey, I wonder what that person's up to, and I go, and sure enough, they're posting, daily or every couple of days, but I'm just not seeing it.
It's called pay to play. So this is one of the biggest components of my book that I teach was sustainable growth marketing. And anyone that's listening who's sick of going, I have 16,000 followers in my Facebook group for scottmartin.org. I reach maybe 400 of them. What a jip. I spent all these years building up that following, and they're going, you can pay to access that. This is a reality. So we got to accept it. This is a reality of when you're using someone else's platforms, just straight up. So that's why I want to build an ecosystem and take advantage of the systems that are available to you, but migrating them directly, and don't let any business get in between you and your customer when it comes to the transaction. And my biggest cautionary tale for anyone that's listening is, and if Facebook's listening, which they are, is don't fall in the trap of using Facebook Messenger as your core way of communicating with your customers, because they're going to make it so easy, and then they're going to flip the script, and then you're going to have to pay, but you won't be able to figure out how to build a database, all your customer lists. Like, they're shifting hard in controlling your business. Facebook owns your business, you don't. So the way to do it is to still utilize the platforms and to migrate off of that and have ways like, for example, like, don't just use Facebook Live. The fact you put on YouTube or talking Instagram, that's a way of diversification, no different than any other business. So diversification of audience review, that gives you a bigger, wider spread. Leverage the algorithm by doing it live, for example. But the truth is, yes, boosting does work. But what I would argue is this: if you have content that's super authentic, boost that. Don't boost ads. I think that that's okay. I'm not against advertising. I think that sometimes you need to get more reach and do it. But what you don't want to do is what I call buy or go away. Do buy-in. So buy or go away means here's this my product. Here's an ad. Buy it or go away. That right there is a very limiting, non-sustainable way to grow. The way to grow would be, I have something of value. Would you come here and would you like to subscribe, or would you like to learn more and go further? Bring them into your ecosystem first. So use your money to do that. It's counterintuitive because you're thinking, my cost of acquisition, I would need to get the money right now. Believe me, this is the reality of, if you want to get a sustainable growth, people are going to attract when you're giving and you're doing something of value. And if your ads are doing that, you're actually going to play out. You got to just trust me on doing a test on doing this. This will work over a longer period of time. Buying and just doing ads is not sustainable.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm waiting for somebody to go, I disagree with you, Scott. I buy all these ads and I do these funnels and it works. Well, that's called a transaction, right? I'm not talking for the people that are looking at a transaction. I'm talking to all the people here who really care about their clients and they want to build a long-term relationship with your clients. What you want to do is you want to reinvest your money and your time into adding value to them, and so that they don't want to leave. In fact, the best growth loop isn't points, isn't affiliate programs, is delivering extreme value to them and doing what I call transformation. So for me, it's build, give, grow is scaling, but transform. If you transform someone's life, transform them. And it doesn't mean like you like literally transform like Tony Robbins does. It could be transforming the way they think about one thing. It could be like a process that it transforms the way that they execute this one thing. That's a transformation to a degree. If it works and you double down on that and you add as much value to them, they become your growth loop, right? That's where you want to invest. And this idea of a growth loop was started from a guy named Sean Ellis, who's a very famous growth hacker, and he did it in a different form, and he did it in a more monetary, which was everybody knows about Dropbox. Dropbox grew because what he did was he took all the money of advertising off the table. He did a survey to all the people that were using the platform and went, the 1% that could not live without the application. He found out that the reason that they were using it wasn't for storage, it was for sharing. So he put all the money that was on advertising and gave them more storage space if they shared it to other people. He created a growth loop. He exceeded whatever he could have done with advertising. That's the kind of thinking that is sustainable. Sorry, that was a rant. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Sorry about that. I muted myself because my son was walking by. I said
Okay.
it's looking at that gap, right? It's looking at that gap. I love that. I love that line. It's brilliant. It's looking at that gap, and that's what they did. They figured out where it was, and they said that's where I need to go. And you
Well,
go
I
into
actually
that
want to
gap.
make a little bit of a using this word, just an adjustment. When you're heli skiing, when you're saying look at the spaces, if you just had one set of trees in front of you, you would just go through the gap. You can't. This is the world we're in. As soon as you go through that, there's a bunch more trees. There's a thicket.
Yeah.
So what you have to train your eyes to do is not look at the space there, the space slightly in front of it. If you want to ski rapidly through like tree skiing and bombing it, these guys are like expert riders that I had to keep up with filming. I had to learn. And you're looking at the spaces in between. You're looking up just ahead at these little spaces. That's how you rip through the trees in heli skiing. And after, quite frankly, I think that's what's happening right now. I get that everything's changing so fast. You got to keep moving. You got to keep looking at the spaces. Sometimes the space that was here is not going to be available anymore. You got to keep moving. So I honestly do believe that in the next 10 months, it's going to feel like we are going to change at a rate that we've never seen. It's going to be super concentrated. We are at the beginning of this. I mean, things like advertising and marketing just could be gone by the wayside of being like a figment of our imagination in 6 months, for all I know. I don't know.
Now, so if there's somebody out there right now that has a business or starting a business or just getting started, what would you recommend be the first thing that they should really think about or go after? Aside from obviously giving content first, like we spoke about, what's something that you would suggest? Sorry, I got between cats, dogs, and kids. There's always something coming in the room.
It's awesome. I think to me, it's like getting getting clarity, getting congruency with what the best growth curve, the best growth that you could ever create for yourself is congruency between your purpose, your vision, what's good for you, like what's congruent with you. Forget about the tools, forget about the rules, forget about if you at the end of the day are deeply moved by what you're trying to do and you love it, and you more importantly fall in love with your customers. It's so counterintuitive to the marketing industry. They're going, well, what's the biggest market? I'm telling you right now, I'm sorry to use this language again. Fuck that. Don't do that. Go for businesses and customers that you want to fall in love with. When you are congruent with you and you want to totally serve these people, it becomes super easy. Trust me. The rest is just kind of falls together. So if I would say it sounds like not a marketing thing to do, but I would make it really congruent and draw a line between the people you would absolutely, that 1% that Sean, see, that's the same thing. You see the pattern, right? He went for the 1% that loved his company and he made a congruency with them. I just reverse engineer that. You go with you and go, who is it that I'd really want to connect with every day that I could not hardly wait to get out of bed for? The clients that I'm working with, like guys like Craig Bundren and Nisa Acker and stuff, I'm like literally feel like, ask Jill, she's like, I'm waiting for 10 minutes for them to get online for Zoom. And she's like, it's like you can't wait to see your friends. I'm like, well, they are my friends because this is how I feel about it. I have totally learned to say no to more business. And that's a lesson that even in this environment, people are gonna have a hard time with. It's like usually if you market to everybody, you're gonna market to nobody. In this market, the riches and the niches, you want to be very narrow, be very specific. So that's about congruency. Start there. That's your groundswell. Start with that really narrow group. Don't worry that you think it's gonna be too small. Champion that group, make them raving freaking fans, make them compelled to grow and share your business. Then you can slowly make it wider. And I think now more than ever, you have to do this. I'm begging you, stop the thinking that's in up here going, but that's too small. There's like this big market that's doing this. No. If you're going for a market, go, would I just like hardly wait to talk to? Be specific about age, mentality, thinking, whatever it is. Sorry.
I love it. It's almost like a reverse funnel, right?
Yes.
You go in small because once you have that raving fan customer, they start telling other people, then you can just go out, right? So it's the reverse funnel.
The idea of the funnel is about that cast this wide web, and we're going to get people in there. I think that is going by.
Yeah. So starting.
I want on air with somebody that wants to challenge me on this, because I will say that now. Before I used to say it, and I used to say it very tenderly because I'm like, well, but it does work, but so does like trapping the exits and disguising them in gambling casinos. Just because it works doesn't mean you should do it. But if you're trying to be congruent, if you're a business that's doing things that are incongruent with who you are as a business, sure, you can still convince people. Like, you can still lie to people and make more sales. That doesn't make it right. What I mean by a wide funnel is, how are you really serving somebody to be congruent? If you're really being congruent by going, I really want to serve these people. When you cast a wide net, you don't know what's coming your way. I believe it's reversed. You want to target and go after the people and make content that actually rejects the people you don't want and really attracts the core people you want. That will begin your groundswell. They call it your epic center. Like, when a tidal wave happens, it happens from an earthquake. The bigger, the more concentrated, the more powerful the epicenter, the bigger the tsunami. A groundswell, it's about the size and the concentration of the storm. That is what a groundswell is, even when you're talking about a movement of people. It's when a core group of people are going, we need change, right?
Oh, brilliant. I love it. Leo says, agreed. And then he asks a question: how do you capture attention with your authentic content facing a challenge with a short attention span, particularly with ads, is how he follows that up.
Oh, specifically with ads, the content facing challenge with short attention span. So, I think that you basically, you don't have to have the long form. Here's the value. You just go over here. I've got something of value. You get access to this, or I have this to offer you. That's really your message. That's like, it's all the attention you need is going, oh, if I just do this, then that's all you need. Is you just need to be able to communicate clearly about what it is that you're offering, then provide the content afterwards. Don't let you can do that, right? Like, you can just make it sort of, it's ad-like. It's just communicating what is behind the next door.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And also there's also the cutoff. Like, there's like tons of tricks. Like, you can go, not really tricks, but it's like, you can go, you know what? Like, imagine getting a piece of, people do this on webinars all the time. They give you just one insight and you're like, oh, that's great. And like, and if you want the rest of them, you got to go here. I mean, it's totally acceptable to do that. If you gave something of value and going, well, if you want more, this is what you got to do.
Yeah. Which is great. And that's something that, we've had this conversation. I've been doing this show for a long time. And while, obviously I have people that reach out to me that I'm working with, whether they see me on the show, or they see my content, or they've heard from someone. And that's how I get my...
I would argue it's reputation.
Yeah.
Because your reputation preceded you before I saw your content. Did you know that? I actually knew about you before I even saw any of your content. And then I met you, and then I still didn't get your content until after. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Your reputation of being this like really great guy. How many people said, you got to meet this guy. And they were telling me, like, in the Plaque group, and I'm like, well, who is he? Where is he? Like, and so when we finally met at Business Master, I'm like, remember, I think I said, I've heard from 4 people we got to meet, right?
Yeah.
To me, that is the power we're talking about. Reputation is the groundswell. Trust is the groundswell. It's not attention. And I think Chad posted this really great point here, which Seth Godin says this in his marketing. A really important thing for people to do that'll help their brains not get kind of looped up in this a little bit is there's really 2 types of marketing. There's brand marketing and direct marketing. Brand marketing is anything you can't measure, that you're basically going, this is what I do, but you're not really asking for a call to action. There's no way to map it and do a sale. Direct is everything else, anything that you can be measured and you can do. And what's really important is it's okay. I'm not making any suggestion that you shouldn't be doing brand marketing, because sometimes it's really good. Like, I do it all the time. I just got like a picture of a wave going paddle in. Because sometimes I don't want to sell. So sometimes just compel, inspire, and you don't have to always educate, right? There's only 3 things of content, right? You want to educate, inspire, or entertain. So sometimes just inspire by just like, you do it all the time. You don't always teach, but you put these really inspirational quotes up, and then you educate. You have a post about the different events, right? And so to me, that is like a really smart way to kind of look at how you can actually, game the system. Thumbnails, videos, is it a good option? I'm not sure what that means. Like, thumbnails with videos, is that
maybe several thumbnails of the video? I'm not sure, Leo, if you wanna be a little bit more specific with that question. Listen, I love what you said. Fall in love with your client, and I think that that's so important, because if you don't have, and again, and be authentic. And I know that word authentic is so overused.
Oh my God, it's like, how can you be more? If it's like, if you said be more authentic, try that.
What the hell does that mean, right?
What does that mean?
but here's what, and I have this authenticity conversation with people because it has been lost, right? I swear to God, it's been lost. But what I tell people, I said, being authentic means being true to you, and you know, and being real, right? Put it this way: I've been in sales for 30 years. I've been in real estate for 30 years, and I've owned a lot of businesses because I bought the real estate or I invested somehow. Most of it's always real estate related, one way or another. Whether I met the person through a real estate transaction or whatever it was. But I've been in sales for a long time, and I've never been able to sell something I don't believe in. Doesn't matter. People want to get me.
Congruency?
What's that?
It's congruency.
It's congruency. Absolutely. It's being congruent. It's eating your own dog food. It's eating your own cooking. It's taking your own medicine. There's always people that are trying to get me into different MLMs and everything else. As an example, I'm taking ketones. Did I sign up? Yeah. Am I doing anything with it at this moment aside from taking it? No. If I take it and it just changes my world, God damn it, I'm going to talk about it whether people sign up with me or not, because I know that it worked for me. So I'm a believer in it, right? Or vitamins, or, as an example, and this is what I'm talking about, being authentic. And I tell the story, I've told the story on here before. A couple of years ago, maybe 15 years ago, I didn't sleep for 3 or 4 days. I don't know what the hell was going on. It was just my bed. I was complaining. So I went out and I bought a Tempur-Pedic bed. They're like $5 million, or at least that's what it felt like 15 years ago, right? I paid like $3,500 for the bed. But I had to order it, and it didn't come for it was supposed to come one day. It didn't come. Then it finally came the next day, like 4 days practically. I hadn't slept 3.5 days. Finally came in. I laid it out. It's about 7 o'clock, or 6:30. I sit down on the bed and I just lean back, and I sit back up. And it's only like half hour later. It's like 7 o'clock. I'm like, this is bullshit. I'm like, what the hell? And I'm walking around the house. I'm like, where is everybody? It was 13 hours later.
Oh my gosh.
Right. It was 13 hours later. I literally fell asleep with my legs dangling, leaned back, slept for 13 hours. I've never done that before, and I haven't done it since. And it literally changed my life. So for the next year, people are asking me if I work for Tempur-Pedic, because I couldn't help it. Like, oh my God, you didn't.
So right there, they created growth loop in delivering, right? Like,
right.
That is what I think people misunderstand. They're putting so much money on acquisition, not on giving value. So when I say give, also means give to your existing clients so that they will actually want to be compelled. So if you say this, so this is some really important point. I'm writing this in my book. It's like, what if your customers were compelled, not thought about it, incentivized, fucking compelled to tell every people they knew about it? What would you have to do to make that happen? Do that. Now you're going to talk about growth marketing. That's how to hack the system, right? Yeah. Like growth marketing, growth hacking stuff. Like we were talking before about authentic, right? Like I'm actually interviewing Joe Pine. He's the guy that wrote the book Authenticity 15 years before everybody was talking about it. And we're doing a deep dive on a podcast, and we're recording like in 3 weeks. But the interesting thing about authenticity is you're saying eating your own dog food is when you're taking advice from somebody, take a look at what they're doing. I had this one person saying, this person says I should be doing this on Instagram. I'm like, so I went and audited and I'm like, they have like 5 followers on like 3 social channels. Like how are they credible? Right. Yeah. So here's the one thing, if a marketer says you should go on Facebook and buy a bunch of ads, go, great. How much are you spending on ads to build your business? If they are doing it, then good. I'm not saying don't spend money on ads. I'm saying congruency.
Yeah. Listen,
I'm not spending money on ads, so I don't sell it.
Yeah, not to give this guy any more credit, but there's a guy that's all over Facebook all the time saying Facebook ads don't work, and they're Facebook ads to take them to LinkedIn, to his platform on teaching people how to use LinkedIn.
Oh my God.
Facebook ads. Facebook ads don't work. Every time I see it, I can't help but laugh.
You know what? It's funny. It reminds me of a post I saw from the Flat World organization, or whatever they're called. And they said, we have 1 million members across the globe. It said around the planet, something like that. And I'm like, oh my God, that is, did you even hear did you read that? Read it again. Whoever made that copy.
It's crazy. It's crazy. To your point, again, the whole being authentic is really making sure that you believe in what it is that you're doing. I guess, is probably number one. And the other thing, yeah, making people that are compelled. I mean, they made me, I was a raving fan customer. They didn't do anything, but I was a raving fan customer because the product was so good. So that's what we need. We don't need to get happy clients or satisfied clients. I mean, yeah, it's all right to have those. It's good to have those, but it's great to have that raving fan customer, the one that says, oh my God, really? Coaching? You really got to talk to, like Dana. Thank you, Dana. She's my raving fan online here today. Or talk about marketing. Oh my, dude, you got to talk to my friend Scott. He's your marketing guy. Creating that conversation. Or in real estate, if anybody talks about buying or renting a house, or I just looked at a house, first thing is be like, oh my God, you should talk to Tony. You should talk to this one or to that one. So that's your best marketing. That's your best. That's your best lead 100% of the time.
I have a little trick there, and it's so easy. When someone asks me, hey, can you help me advertise or even though I'm on Reddit, do something I haven't done, the best way to build credibility and authenticity is go, I've never done it, but I'd be willing to try, or I know somebody that could. The biggest mistake people are making is they feel this pressure that they have to know everything and anything, and nothing builds credibility with your clients and with people around you when you go, and I don't know, I have no idea why marketers don't do this. I do this all the time. I'm like, it just takes the pressure off me. I'm going, I don't know, but let's test it. Like, that is actually smart marketing. You together are both facing the problem and working on it together. Instead of being the one that goes, I know the solution and prescribing, this is the problem that I think was about to evaporate because this new reality, nobody's going to be able to go, well, I know. The smart ones are going to go, we don't know, but I have some ideas. Let's test these. Let's do some smart testing. And that's probably the biggest thing with marketing is about testing. There is no only one way. Even Scott's way is not the only one way. It's a way that I'm approaching clients that are concerned about, they want to build a groundswell. They're like, this whole groundswell concept was born out of the last downturn that I basically wanted to get rid of my employees. I sold my business. I ate rice and beans. It was a really bad experience. And I was like, there's a better way. And that's when I really invested in content marketing, going and seeing how much money my clients were wasting on ads that were not working. It was born out of disdain and out of like sort of really thinking differently. So there's so many amazing things going to be born from this.
Listen, I agree, man. I agree. And listen, I want to continue this, to be honest, and I'd love to have you back, but I want to be respectful of your time and everybody that's watching. And by the way, I don't know if, and maybe
keep going if you want. I don't care. I'm like, but if you want to make it an hour, make it an hour. It's fine.
Yeah, no, it's already an hour, believe it or not.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So we can go for 5. I don't care. Whatever you need, buddy.
It's kind of crazy. We'll stay on for a couple more minutes. But this actually might be a question for you or anyone who's watching. A couple of people have already told me several times, oh, no, the show or the podcast, I only do it for 40 minutes. No, 40 minutes. Is that like a sweet spot, 40 minutes? Because 60 is too long if they go to watch your video or listen to your audio?
I love this question. You know why? It's the same question about, should I post on Tuesdays on Instagram? Is that a better time to do it? So here's my answer. It goes back to the first thing you asked me, which is would you do? It's like congruency. Yeah. What is good for you? What do you want to do? Fuck the rules. Am I swearing on this thing? I don't know. It's like,
listen, yeah.
To me, it's like what you're doing is here's just an analogy. If everybody goes, the best practice is to do it on Tuesday at 2:00. What is everybody doing? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't differentiate you in any way. So to me, don't think of best practices. Best practices are the sheeple. That's what everyone else is doing. Next practices are what you test and try and do what's right for you. Have you ever noticed that when you do something and it's just like, 5 minutes works for me? Do that. I do.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's I'm over the amount of marketers that are saying you must do this and stuff. If it works, do that for you. It's a differentiation. And the more you go down that path, I think people just need the license. I think they just need to hear from somebody go, it's okay, do it. Don't.
I love it. And funny, we were talking about Brian Bradley before with the Goskew, which, by the way, if you guys don't know a Goskew, you should go back to listen to that episode.
Yeah.
Amazing, right? It's like magic. But one of the things that he says as well, when you're doing exercise, listen, if it hurts, don't do it. Don't do it. Do it however you feel that do it to the level you're going to do, right? You don't go to the gym. You've not been to the gym. You don't go to the gym and start bench pressing 150 pounds. Maybe you do, but maybe you don't. But you don't do that. You got to build up to it, right? So it's the same way. You don't want to get hurt. So just find your own pace, right? Find your
Yeah,
own.
so the whole staging thing. That's a whole other analogy that I think is really important and it's applied directly to marketing. So the idea of like work up to it, right? When you put, so think of if you were to say, I got to write an ebook or I got to do an hour podcast, it puts this huge potential of sort of like angst for you. But if you go, hey, what if you just did like 10 5-minute podcast snippets and that's it, and you did on one little topic?
Yeah,
Off the hook. It's great because then you appeal to somebody that wants a little single serving, whatever. I'm even doing it myself. I'm eating my own dog food. Jill, my wife, has said, why are you not writing? I'm writing my book. I'm over halfway done, and I'm not producing as much content. She's really going, now's your time. And I really am doing it. I'm trying it. So every day I'm like, almost every day, I'm literally doing a live and I'm not editing it. I'm calling it Rip Currents. It's on Anchor. And I'm just riffing on an idea. And I'm just going 15 minutes is my mark. And I'm not even editing it. I'm just going, it is what it is. Whatever I say is as a go. And it's forcing me. It's really training me to really think about what I'm doing. So what I did was I started doing the audio and then writing an article to support the audio. Well, what I've learned after 5 episodes, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. What if I wrote the article, kind of got my thoughts straight, and then did it? I'm like, oh, yeah, this is going to actually be better. So you learn by just putting pressure off and just trying stuff. I do the same thing.
Innovation. I love it. Listen, by the way, one of the books is going to be the idea that we spoke about, 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago, whenever we spoke. So that's going to be a good one. You're going to be in it. The top, right? Remember?
Oh, yeah. You're going to do that?
That was a great one. So
dude, it's an awesome idea.
Yeah. Bam. Well, actually, no, here we can go like this. We can go like this. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Awesome.
So, yeah, I'm loving it, man. So like I said, this is great. I think this is something that's so worth it. For anyone who's watching, do share the video, whether it be through YouTube or through Facebook, and tag a friend, tag someone who needs it. Sorry about the slow start today, but tag somebody who needs it, because marketing is where it's at. And right now we're sitting at home, we're not doing anything. You need a way to innovate your business and whatever it is you're doing. And marketing is one of the things that most people don't do well, because A, they don't know. B, it's expensive, or it could be expensive, and C, they're just scared of fail, or scared of criticism or judgment or whatever it is. Just get your feet wet, try it out, do it on your own, do it slowly. Get on. I say it all the time, and while there's a lot of traffic out here right now on Facebook and Instagram videos and TikToks and everything else, if you're our age, I probably wouldn't do a whole lot of TikTok. But anyway, that's a limiting belief, I guess. But get out there, make yourself known, become an expert in your field, which is something that I tell people all the time. Get out there, be an expert in your field, and stand out.
Start and pick one channel. Don't have to try to do everything at once. Just go, I'm just going to focus on Instagram for a month. Go there. You know what? It just takes the pressure off trying to do everything.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. Any last thoughts before I close it up?
I would say that, one of the biggest factors of me being successful in what I'm doing has been thanks to Tony Robbins, and a major lever of me like thinking through and coming up with so many cool innovations that I've been coming up with. I mean, I gave you one. Like, I've got so many things that I've been like, I have so many people that are about to crush it during this period. This is seriously, and it's because I do priming every day, and every day what I try to look for is I just kind of really look at what is congruent for me. What do I want to do? What's important to me, and where this is all going, so that when I'm going and making recommendations to people, it's congruent with me. I would just really go back to that question. It's like, ask yourself, what's your why? What's your purpose? I would come up with a mantra, the mantra being a brand mantra, or that you want your customers. What's the feeling you want the people you're going to serve? Write out, what's the feeling, the actual feeling they're going to have? You know what I mean? Like on this podcast, I thought to myself, what's the feeling I want the people that are listening to have? Because I know a little bit of Tony's audience, and I'm like, I want them to feel that they can freaking do this. It's like I want them to feel inspired. I knew that they're like, maybe they wanted to get a couple like ideas, great. But if nothing else, I wanted them to feel like that listening to this episode that they felt inspired that they could just do something. And if I just move the lever a little bit, and think of this, best growth marketing isn't the big silver bullet. Like, what do I do on what day? Think of them as little 1%ers. Everything I do is a little 1% here, a little 1% here, and I keep learning. They start adding up to bigger percentages. That is the growth hack of the secret. This is it. I just gave you my secret to the book. I gave you the secret to every growth hacker. If anyone says that, well, you did this and they got these big results, is it repeatable? Probably not. So just think about everything you do is go, it only made 1% of difference, but those keep adding up if you keep being consistent. So just be consistent. Don't get caught up on big results. Just little 1% results can add up to a big impact.
That's it. The compounding effect, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's exponential. That's sustainable.
Leo actually asked another question. I don't know if we're going to have time for it, but if you want to answer, we can go. What's your ikigai, your purpose?
Yeah, the purpose of my life is to make a difference in people's lives. So, so literally, like from Date with Destiny, is I literally can say it. The purpose of my life is to be a groundswell for good, generating waves of change that turns into a tsunami of stoke that we all experience as one. So my whole point is that I am the groundswell out for good. That my marketing is about my impact on the world is helping impact others. That I know that they're impacting others. So instead of me just going direct impact to people, my impact is finding the people that are making a difference in the world, and I can help them and put their dreams on wings. And that's my purpose. I love it.
Beautiful, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Listen, I love it. I love it. That's why we connected, and that's why it's so powerful. Listen, helping others. It's great to make a change in your life and the life of 2 or 3 people around you, right? But it's even greater to create other change makers, to help other change makers reach a broader audience. I say it all the time that we're all influencers, and it starts with us. It starts with influencing ourselves, impacting ourselves, and influencing ourselves and our family, then our neighbor, then our block, then our neighborhood, then our town, then our county, then our state, then the country, then the world. Because everybody wants it, and I say this a lot too, everybody wants to change the world, but they want to eat that elephant in one bite, and then they realize they can't, and they wind up doing nothing, right? So it's with those little incremental changes, those 1%ers. And I appreciate you, man, with the groundswell, and you're the spark, right? You're the spark that lights the fire. You're the earthquake that rocks somebody's business and shakes things up and starts those ripples and those waves and that groundswell. I love it. I love it. Listen, I appreciate you. Let's see. Hold on. Danielle X, one tip for creating raging fans for a nonprofit on teaching teenagers about self-esteem and confidence.
One tip for creating raging fans for a nonprofit focused on teaching teenagers about self-esteem. So your audience is teenagers. So one tip for creating raging fans for nonprofit focused on teaching teenagers about self-esteem and confidence. Well, I guess the question is, how can teenagers that you're trying to reach be compelled to want to connect with you? That I would follow that rabbit trail. Like how because if you want to teach them, they probably want to be entertained. They like straight up teaching about self-esteem and confidence. I think you need to maybe look at how can you create raging fans of something that they already love, and through that process you teach them concurrently. Like Tony Robbins does all the time, right? Like he does these fun exercises, but yet we don't realize that we're learning something. That would be, to me, I think, creating a raging fan of them, because they're about connection, they're about entertainment, right? And going, what could you do that makes them feel connected to you, so that you can maybe in your process, through that process, they're gaining self-esteem and confidence. So one tip, I'm trying to think about doing these tips on the fly, like what that would be, but I would say that making a connection one-to-one. I would say stay away from marketing. Win one teenager at a time. Yeah. And that effort of you trying to figure one at a time, you start seeing patterns. Then you build your marketing on that. Start with one at a time.
Yeah, and Danielle, what I would suggest as well is have fun. Make it fun.
Yes.
Because I know that if I'm having fun and I'm learning, you almost don't realize that you're learning. There's games, there's different things that you can do, different exercises with kids that'll make it fun and allow them to learn along the way. Actually,
well, I think teenagers are more evolved than we were at our age. They actually care more about purpose. They care more about why than we ever did. they like, I think I'm so impressed with the younger generations, and everybody was giving so much flack to millennials about, maybe how they, slept their feet. Well, you know why? Because they don't see the benefit in it, because they don't see the why. No offense, but I honestly think that they're actually more evolved. So think about it from their point of view. Like, what would they drive them?
And what I'm going to do, Danielle, I'm going to send you a couple of clips. So I'll tag you on a couple of clips because I spoke at my son's high school about 2 months ago, and I did a couple of exercises with him that just kind of rocked them. So I'll tag you, and I recorded.
That would be a good question for you to answer. You're the one that's like speaking with teenagers. Mine are in the 20s now. So
yeah. So yeah, I'll send you. I'll tag you in, or maybe I'll even come in here and put them. I don't know if I can load them in the chat. The videos are probably too long, but I'll tag you. I'll go back on my
and
history.
I'll think about it, Danielle. And if I have something, I'll send it to Tony to share.
Yeah, awesome. But yeah, I'll definitely tag you on those, Danielle.
Sounds like a great initiative.
Danielle, I'm sorry, I keep saying Danielle. I don't have my glasses on. Danielle.
Danielle.
So awesome. Listen, again, I so appreciate you coming on here. I'd love to have you back on again because, again, we could literally have another hour's worth of conversation because now we're really kind of,
we're just getting warmed up. We haven't even got started. I feel like we're in the shallow end. Like, people that are going, man, I want to get like some, like, we could just literally break off like little sections and go, let's just talk content marketing. Let's talk about Facebook, Instagram. We could pick a channel and just go, and then still, but what you're going to find is a lot of what I'm saying, there's patterns, and what I'm saying is it doesn't really change, but the way that which you address it is very different. So look forward to that. I'd be happy to do that.
Great. I'd love to have you back again. Listen, Brian's my standing Saturday call. I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm not saying that you need to have a standing day once a week, but maybe we can do it every 2 weeks or something.
Marketing Mondays or something.
But this is great. And look, and again,
Marketing Mondays. Did that not ring a bell?
What's that?
I said Marketing Mondays.
I'm a marketer. You might have something there. Listen, I'm down with it. Like I said, at the end.
How about this? How about we commit to doing a series?
I'm good.
We'll call Marketing Mondays, and we'll do, the next 6 Marketing Mondays, and that we could totally bring a lot of value to people that really need a lot of insight.
Yeah, and you know what? And then that'll also give people an opportunity to say, oh my God, you got to be the next Monday. You know what? Let's do that. I appreciate that. And at the end of the day, I need to learn about more of it as well and get more in the trenches. And I know everybody here is going to get that much more value out of it. So yeah, that's awesome.
We're going to do a series, and let's set up, let's tell people if you're listening to this and listen to the end, write Tony with some questions. And let's have some questions on the tee. Let's bring it.
I love it. Yeah. So if you're watching now, share this video, by the way, get onto YouTube, subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to build that up. Just opened it up about 2 weeks ago. So I'm trying to get more people onto that so we can work with that a little bit better. And join us again next Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time and Pacific Daylight Time. Join us again with the one, the only Scott Martin. And Scott, what's the website where people can find you?
Yeah, so I would basically go to groundswell.fm. That's my podcast. It also brings you to groundswell.marketing, which is my site, but just groundswell.fm, just easy to remember.
Groundswell.fm. Beautiful. So yeah, so follow him, groundswell.fm, and on Instagram that you can find him as well. Look up Scott Martin. I think it comes up as marketer. And with me, obviously, you can find me at Tony Rodriguez 2.0. I'll just put that in here as well. On Instagram, Tony Rodriguez 2.0, and again on YouTube, hashtag GetUpNGrow. So I just type really slow here.
Yeah, my Instagram is Scott Martin _ORG. And you can just message me there, direct message me there if you want.
Awesome. Well, listen, I look forward to our talk again next week for sure. And by the way, come with your questions, share this video, invite other people. Next week, we'll be here again. Scott, don't go away. So thank you again, everyone, for watching. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for participating, for all your questions. For those of you who are on here live, continue to post your questions here, and we'll make sure we address them next week. And again, my friends, remember that life is not about how many times you fall. It's about getting up after every fall, because you fall down 7 times, get up 8. And remember that it's when you fall that you learn. It's when you get up that you grow. And every time you fall, you have the opportunity to get up and grow. Appreciate you all, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.